Yeah, g'day everyone, and g'day chatsters. Yeah, it's great to be back, and just a little bit of a summary of what we've been doing on the Creator King road trip around the central eastern states and then down the coast now. So
Just
wonderful.
give
So
me
that's
one
where we've been
second.
so far. That basically the red lines are where we've travelled, and the black triangles are where we've spoken and done a few other things. Got up to Winton, where the dinosaur fossils are well known from that region, and now we're down in the Gloucester Stroud area, which is a bit of my home country actually. So it's great to be back here with family and sharing at the churches here. We went while we've been in Gloucester. To the west is the Barrington Tops National Park, and we went there. But just a few of the fossils we found along the way. At Winton, a beautiful piece of petrified wood, or a fossil wood actually. There's another one down in Stroud that we found the other day on a railway cutting. This one's just a little bit east of where I am at the moment. Really big slab, really doesn't give you the proportions there on the trolley. Basically can't lift that one, but it's absolutely chock-a-block of these crinoid fossils, and you can show that they've been catastrophically dumped, and it's a great fossil. That's another one we found on the southern tips of the Barrington Tops National Park. There's another one you can't really get the perspective of, but this one's from north of where we are just at the moment. A big slab of, it almost looks like you could split it with an axe, but that is very heavy. You can barely lift it. It's a big piece of petrified timber, and that'll all go into the museum. And you can just see this stuff is scattered all over the countryside. When we're up at the national park, there's a bunch of signs. I'll just share a couple of them with everybody just now. But you can see in that second paragraph there, and the last sentence, that wilderness provides a refuge where plants and animals can survive and evolve, largely free of the impacts of humans and introduced species. And that actually is a reflection of the mentality that our conservation organisations and even the privately run wilderness society have, is that the reason we need wilderness areas is so that things can keep evolving. In fact, the Wilderness Society says this on their website, that they are not-for-profit organisations whose principal purpose is to protect, promote and restore wilderness and natural processes for the survival and ongoing evolution on Earth. So it just shows you that your underlying worldview drives so much of what you do and the way you think and the way you manage things. Here's another sign, interesting sign, that I thought the team, especially John being an expert in coal, might like to comment on. That the sphagnum moss swamps up on the Barrington Tops are a good example of where peat moss is formed. Not that I think there's much peat moss, to my knowledge, up on the Barrington Tops. We've got peat moss down in Tasmania on the mountains. But John has said to me that sphagnum usually always grows in cool areas, which is actually true to my experience. It always grows in the cooler mountain areas of where I've worked. And it goes on to say that that takes thousands of years to become peat, and then tens of thousands of years for that peat to turn into coal. So maybe John can make a comment about that in a moment. But I'm sure, but this is probably one of the best signs I think I've seen on evolution. The fact that jellyfish has survived for 65 million years despite not having brains gives hope to many people.
The evolutionists can speak for themselves.
Exactly. Anyway, this is just a picture. We might refer back to this during our discussions on populations, but this green plant, this is up under the snow gum forest on the mountains we visited earlier this week, and that green plant is Scotch broom, called Scotch because it's from Scotland. It's an introduced plant and is actually taken over thousands and thousands of hectares on the Barrington Tops, and Australia's full of sort of various weeds in different places that are taking over because they've been introduced from other parts of the world, and most parts of the world experience this to some degree, especially now that it's such a world where people get around and move things around. But you can see a bit more of the Scotch broom there, but also these horses. And the horses are actually a feral problem in a lot of our national parks. Apparently, just the Barrington Tops National Park's relatively small, but there's about 500 or more feral horses. There's also a lot of problems with pigs. The pigs are chewing up the swamps and digging them up. It's just an interesting point to make because after the flood, there would have been a lot of niches in ecosystems that needed to be filled. And when creatures were first getting out there, they're filling those niches and their populations can explode. So the pigs have got no real competitors up there on the Barrington Tops. I mean, the wombats are up there digging around a little bit as well, but there's no way they can compete with the pigs. And the horses are the biggest mammal by a long shot in that area. There's a few grey kangaroos, but they're really starting to get to proportions that need to be controlled.